You're watching Just the News. I'm Amitha Balachandra. Let's get straight to it. On our top stories, the Supreme Court today has appointed an independent expert technical committee, which is going to be headed by retired Supreme Court Judge Justice R.V. Ravindran, to examine the allegations that the government used an Israeli spyware Pegasus to snoop on its own citizens. Now, the Supreme Court said, and I quote, "A vague denial from the government is not sufficient," it said, and asserted that the government could not give any clarity despite being given ample opportunity to do so. Now, it also went on to say that there had been no specific denial by the centre. Now, the court also went on to say, and I quote, "Although this court should be circumspect in encroaching the domain of national security, no omnibus prohibition can be called against judicial review. Centre should have justified its stand here and not rendered the court a mute spectator. The court will not encroach upon national security, but that does not make the court a mute spectator," end quote. Now, multiple petitions had called for an investigation into the allegations that Israeli Pegasus spyware sold only to governments was used to target allegedly opposition leaders, journalists, and others. Now, the Supreme Court said the petitions raised a concern about how technology could be used and abused. The judges said, and I quote, "Without allowing ourselves to be consumed into political rhetoric, we have never refrained from protecting people from their fundamental rights being abused," end quote. Also in the news, former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarendra Singh on Wednesday said that he would be forming his own political party months before the assembly elections. Now, he went on to say, and I quote, "We will have a seat sharing with the BJP. I have not said we will be allying with the BJP. Yes, I am forming the party. The name will be cleared once the Election Commission clears it, along with the symbol. My lawyers are working on it. Once the party is announced, we will fight on all 117 seats. There will be plenty of congressmen coming here," end quote. Now, if you remember, Amarendra Singh had resigned as Chief Minister on the 18th of September after accusing the Congress of humiliating him. Meanwhile, a college in Uttar Pradesh's Agra has suspended 3 Kashmiri students for allegedly posting a WhatsApp status praising Pakistani players after their victory over India in a T20 World Cup League match. Now, this is according to NDTV, which has said the college hostel termed students' action of posting a status in favor of Pakistan as an indiscipline act. Now, local leaders of the BJP youth wing have also lodged a complaint against the students. Now, Dr. Pankaj Gupta, Director of Administration and Finance at the Institute, was quoted saying by the news agency PTI, and I quote, "The students were studying under the Prime Minister's Super Special Scheme. We have also apprised the PM office and AICTE of the Students Act. However, students have apologized," end quote. Now, on Sunday after the match, the Indian Express reported that there were several reports of Kashmiri students being allegedly attacked at 2 educational institutions in Punjab as well. Now, there is a worrying report that has come out. According to this report by the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, the states of Assam, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Bihar are the most vulnerable to extreme climate events such as floods, droughts, and cyclones in India. Kerala and West Bengal are the least vulnerable. Now, the report said, and I quote, "The difference in ranking between the states is really marginal as they're all vulnerable, but these states have fared better because they have really stepped up their climate action plans. Kerala, for instance, dealt with the 2018 floods remarkably well," end quote. Now, the report had analyzed 640 districts in India and found that 463 of those are vulnerable to extreme floods, droughts, and cyclones. Now, the study also highlights that states in India's northeast are more vulnerable to floods, while the ones in south and central are most vulnerable to extreme droughts. An update in the Aryan Khan case. The Bombay High Court has adjourned the bail hearing of Aryan Khan in connection with the alleged seizure of drugs on a cruise ship on till Thursday. In fact, the court is going to hear the matter on Thursday again. Senior counsel Amit Desai, appearing for Arbaz Merchant, stated that there was no grounds of conspiracy as alleged by the Narcotics Control Bureau. He said, and I quote, "If there are three unconnected persons coming for the same purpose, this is not conspiracy," end quote. He reiterated also the arguments made in the case of Aryan that the WhatsApp chats were unrelated to the Mumbai cruise. Now, senior advocate and former Attorney General of India Mukul Rohtgi, among who's appearing on behalf of Aryan, had concluded his arguments on Tuesday as well. The court is going to be hearing the bail applications again tomorrow. On to news on COVID right now. India has reported 13,451 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Kerala, in the meantime, has reported a bulk of those cases, 9,455 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister and Education Minister Manish Sisodia on Wednesday has announced that all schools and educational institutes will be allowed to open from the 1st of November at 50% capacity. Now, parental consent would be compulsory to come into school, and students can continue attending online classes. Also in the news, the Delhi government has announced that it has decided to allow Chhath Puja celebrations at public places in Delhi while following COVID protocols. Now, the DGMA had earlier barred public celebrations of the festival due to the pandemic. Delhi has around 1,100 designated sites, most of them located on the banks of Yamuna for Chhath Puja celebrations. Also in the news, the World Health Organization's Technical Advisory Group on Tuesday has sought additional clarifications from Bharat Biotech for its COVID-19 vaccine, Covaxin, to conduct a final risk-benefit assessment for emergency use listing of the vaccine. Now, the Technical Advisory Group will now meet on the 3rd of November for final assessment. The WHO, in an email response to a question posed by PTI, has said, and I quote, "The Technical Advisory Group met today and decided that additional clarifications from the manufacturer are needed to conduct a final EUL, or the emergency usage listing risk-benefit assessment for global use of the vaccine," end quote. Let's now take a look at news coming in from the world of business. Petrol and diesel prices have hit fresh record highs today after the fuel rates were hiked following a 2-day pause. Now, the prices were hiked by 35 paise. Petrol prices were hiked over 15 times in the month of October alone. Now, in Mumbai, a litre of petrol is costing 113.80 rupees per litre, while diesel now costs 104.75 rupees per litre. In Delhi, in the meantime, petrol costs 107.94 rupees per litre and diesel costs 96.67 rupees per litre. Let's also take a look at what else is making news across the world. Protests have continued in Sudan after a military coup on Monday. Over 10 people have been killed and several others injured after military personnel opened fire at the crowd. Now, this is a report according to the BBC, which says the capital city's airport is closed and that international flights are suspended as well. The internet and most phone lines are also down. Central bank staff have reportedly gone on strike, and across the country, doctors are said to be refusing to work in military-run hospitals except in emergencies. Now, according to Reuters, General Burhan has said that Monday's coup was justified to avoid civil war and that the detained Prime Minister will be returned to his home on Tuesday. Also in the news, Australia will lift its ban on outbound travel for its citizens who are fully vaccinated from the 1st of November. Now, this comes after the number of infections is decreasing and that vaccination rate has also been ramped up. Over 61% of Australians are fully vaccinated. Let's now take a look at what else is making news in the world of sports. Pakistan defeated New Zealand by 5 wickets to register back-to-back wins in T20 World Cup 2021. Now, Pakistan restricted New Zealand for 134-8, with Haris Rauf taking 4 wickets for 22 runs. Now, Pakistan also chased down the target in 18.4 overs. Asif Ali slammed an unbeaten 27 of 12 balls. Pakistan are currently on top of Super 12 Group 2 points table. Now, we leave you with one piece of positive news before we end this bulletin. Maharashtra has become the first state in the country to fully vaccinate over 3 crore people. Now, on October 9th, Maharashtra had crossed the mark of 9 crore COVID-19 vaccination doses, with 2.76 crore population fully vaccinated. That number has now gone up to over 3 crore. That's it here on Just the News. Thank you so much for watching.